Welcome to my channel. My name is Tolu. I'm a Christian dating coach and I specialize in showing single Christian women how to go from single to married in a year. So if you're a 30 plus Christian single woman that wants to learn exactly how to move from single to married within a year, definitely apply to work with me one-on-one inside my Dating to Marry program. The link is in my bio. It's the second tab. I walk you through how to meet men, go on dates, get into a relationship that will lead to marriage in 12 months, just like I've helped my clients do. So if you're watching this live, let me know where you're tuning in from. Just drop it in the comments. I wanted to talk to you today about how to meet your husband before the end of 2024. As you know, we are less than 90 days away from the end of 2024. And the truth is, I like to approach dating, and what I show my clients how to do is to approach dating from a very practical angle. Yes, it's good to be prayerful. We don't play with prayers here. If you are aware of the Fan the Flame mission, if you've worked with me personally, you know that I specifically show my clients how to meet the man God has desired for them to step into marriage with. So we don't play with prayers here, but prayer requires your partnership through application and through being practical. So part of my process and what I walk my clients through is practical, tangible steps that they can take to know how, when, and who they're going to marry. And this is a process that I have walked my clients through inside the Dating to Marry program that has helped them to step into marriages, get into relationships, break out of toxic cycles, depending on each client's needs. Now, specific to you watching this, I want you to really do a quick audit of what you've achieved so far in 2024 when it comes to connecting with men, going on dates, being in a relationship. Ask yourself just roughly, and you can drop it in the comments, how many men have you met? How many men have you actually gone on dates with? How many men have you been in a relationship with? And look at any commonalities between all three. That will tell you what you need to work on, what needs to change, and what you need to keep doing to get into the relationship that will lead you to your marriage. It's that simple. Like, I like to keep things as practical as possible. Prayer is obviously going to cover every single step you take before, during, and after, and after you get married. It's really important for you to understand that practical application is going to determine how you see the manifestation of your prayers. Okay, there is a requirement for you to participate in your dating process. Somebody said they haven't met any men. Great. So what that means is you need to start meeting men. And that goes into my very first point. There are only three things keeping you from stepping into marriage. There are only three areas that need work. Firstly, you just need to be coming into contact with men. So if you are not coming into contact with men at all, like the person that just dropped out in the chat, and please feel free to drop your own experiences in the chat as well, then you are not going to be able to create opportunities to meet your husband, because your husband is a man. And because he is a man, you need to meet men to meet him. Okay, it's really that simple. So you want to come into contact with more men. So how I help my clients with this is showing them how to date online and how to date organically. Because the truth is, we're in 2024. A lot of women and men are connecting online. I mean, check any, romantic platform that shares this kind of news. Check it. They'll tell you they met on Facebook. They met through a virtual event. They met on a dating app. They met what's it called? They met through some sort of WhatsApp group or whatever. A lot of couples are connecting online. So if you are sleeping on online connections, you are the one getting in your way. Online connections are happening, and they are happening even more and more. The world is becoming a very virtual space. Just think about your 9 to 5s. A lot of you are in hybrid professional environments where you don't always have to be in the office. A lot of meetings are now being held virtually. A lot of experiences are being held virtually. So the world is changing in the way it operates, and dating is not excluded from that shift. So online dating is a very practical way to increase your chances of meeting the right man. So what I do with my clients is walk them through my proven process to meet the right men online. So the problem isn't the platform. The problem isn't the fact that they are online. The problem is your strategy. I guarantee that if you are having issues online dating, it is showing up also in men you meet at work, at the gym, organically. So the problem is in the platform. It's just online dating creates a faster way to meet men. So you just need to work on your strategy. So there are two ways to meet more men. It's either online, which I've just expanded upon, or organically. You need to create opportunities in your day-to-day routine to come into contact with people. I shared in my stories how, one of the ways in which you can meet people is just through a self-care routine. For example, the gym. I shared in my stories how, through working out, I've come in contact with all sorts of people, men, women. I've just come in contact with all sorts of people just because of going to the gym. Okay, so the same thing with you. What are you doing in your day-to-day routine? I've had my clients meet their spouses at work. I've had my clients meet their boyfriends at events. Literally meet men walking down the street. It is not difficult for you to come in contact with men. They are literally a significant part of the population. So the problem is you are not creating visibility. And what I mean by visibility is you're not creating opportunities to be seen, noticed, and recognized. I keep saying it. You don't just want to be seen. You at least want to be noticed. So what it looks like is when you see someone, it means that you can just see their physical, you can just identify some physical traits like, oh, that's a woman wearing a dress, or oh, that's a man in a suit. But when you notice them, say, oh, that's a handsome man. Oh, I really like his suit. Oh, he's walking very confidently. And then when you recognize them, it's more to do with something tangible that you can specifically say to identify that person. Or, oh, that's John. Oh, that's the person that helps me, that's the supervisor in my office. It gets more and more and more streamlined. So what you want to do with visibility is get to the point of recognition, or at least get noticed enough to inspire curiosity to be recognized. Think about Boaz and Ruth. Boaz approached his the head of his harvest, right, the head of the group that was manning his harvest, and he asked, who is that lady? So she had stood out to him. And the reason I'm using scriptural references, I want you to understand this is also biblical. Okay, she has stood out to him. Literally, Naomi told Ruth, wear your best clothes, wash up, spray perfume before you go and lie at Boaz's feet. Esther took the advice of Haggai, which, as the Lord revealed to me, is the Holy Spirit, just taking the direction of the Holy Spirit, took his advice on what to take before she went to the king. So physical appearance is important, number one, in being more visible. So part of the reason that nobody is seeing you is you're not taking care of your physical appearance. You may be like, oh, Tolu, I go to the gym, I work out, or, I come in contact with men all the time, but they are not noticing me. Then you really need to look at your appearance. I think I did I did a mini video on this a while back on my Instagram, if you're watching this on my podcast, for example. But yeah, your physical appearance, if you are not getting any form of attention at all, like when I say any form of attention, people are smiling at you, people are interested in how you are creating waves with contact is people want to get closer to you, they want to communicate with you, they want to connect. So it could be a simple hi, hello, it could be a simple asking for directions, and you see somebody is very responsive, then it's something to do with your physical appearance. So ask yourself, do an audit. Is it like I need to work on my physical appearance? Is it more emotional? In other words, you go into an environment but you are closed off. You attend church, you don't talk to anyone, you don't make yourself available for conversations, that could be a problem. And from a spiritual angle, are you taking direction from where the Lord is prompting you? Unfortunately, there's not a lot of teaching, and I feel like the Holy Spirit is pressing it on my heart to share. There's not a lot of teaching around having a relationship with God in the context of it being very informal. It's just I see a lot about going to and of course there's nothing wrong with it, go into your prayer closet, spend time, be in an environment that allows you to really experience the presence of God through formal aspects of connection, which is you are in a quiet space and so on. So those are very important, don't get me wrong. But sometimes God will talk to you very informally. You could be minding your business and he just drops in your spirit, by the way, have you attended to have you looked at your account? Remember I told you need to watch your budget. Or he may just drop in your spirit, that person is not your friend, you need to ask this question. God talks to us a lot in that way. And unfortunately, I just don't see enough teaching on it. So what I like to do with my clients is make sure they understand what it looks like when God is prompting your spirit. There's just not a lot of teaching there, but that is something that you really want to pay attention to when it comes to coming in contact with more men. Okay, from a spiritual, emotional, and physical standpoint. And what I like to do, like a couple of you, let me look at the comments, just drop your experiences. Is it that you've not met men, or you have met men? How many men have you met? How many dates have you gone on? How many men have taken you on dates? How many relationships have you been in? Just drop it in the comments. So someone said, okay, 99% of the time I'm at home. Then you need to be online. It's that simple. It's really that simple. You can't be at home and create opportunities to meet men at home. You need to go online to meet men. Or you need to create opportunities in your routine to leave the house and maximize it. I don't care if you're going to the grocery store. I literally have my clients saying, I remember one client telling me a guy chased her down the street, was really wanting to get her number. Somebody else, a lady complimented her skin. And, these are clients that when they initially started working with me, they were just not getting that level of attention or that level of visibility. And the reason I share this is sometimes the reason no one is seeing you is more to do with your soul. That is your mind, your will, your emotions, the way you think about yourself, the opportunities you give yourself to interact with people, how emotional you get, how attached you are to making connections with people. Those are examples of mind, will, and emotions. And when I start working with these women, like I said, I like to do an audit to see, okay, what are the deficits that you are creating that is making it difficult and making it scarce for you to attract men. And then when we work on those deficits, they just naturally start to notice that, oh, I met a guy at the car wash. I meet men at the grocery store. I meet men in the park, on the street. So it doesn't have to be any formal environment. So even if you're at home, I'm sure you go to the grocery store. I'm sure you run some errands. I'm sure there are some interactions that require you. I'm sure you go to, physical service once in a while. So do not look at it mostly as quantity. Focus on quality. So that's what I will say there, just as an example. And then someone else said, where is it? I've not met men that suit me. So there's something to do with your presentation. There's something to do with the way you're participating in your current environment. So if you go out, like I had said earlier, I'd given the example, you can go out, but nobody sees you, nobody talks to you. And the people that talk to you, you don't like them. It's your presentation, because there's something they saw that attracted them to you. So it's something to do with your presentation. And don't get me wrong. Now, you will always find in any equation that there is always going to be a small margin that doesn't match what you're looking for. Whether it is when you apply for jobs, maybe there are some jobs you don't there are some jobs you don't want that you get an offer for. Maybe they require long hours or the pay isn't great. There's always that small margin in anything that doesn't match what you want. Same with meeting men. So if you are, say you are coming across 20% of men that you come across are not the kind of men you want. That's natural. That's fine. It's just life. Okay, it's just life. Just like if you plan out your day, 100% of it is not going to go according to plan. Okay, if you get up to 80% done that you planned in the day, it's a good day. But usually you wouldn't be getting everything done you planned in the day, or it doesn't go according to the way you planned it out. That's just life. But then if you notice that over 60-70% of men you're meeting are not the kind of men you want, then there's something in your own section, in other words, in your own control, that needs to shift. Just like using the example of your day, if your day is going off plan by 80%, there's a problem, right? That's not usual. That's not routine. There's an actual issue. There's something you need to attend to. Maybe you're waking up too late. Maybe you're putting too many things on your schedule. Maybe you're creating too much distractions. Maybe you are underestimating how much work is required for some tasks. There's something that you need to shift on your own end. Same thing with if you're meeting a high number or high percentage of men that don't match what you want, then it's probably something to do with your physical appearance, the way you're connecting with men, communication style, the spaces you're going to, the kind of conversations you're having. It could be a number of things, a plethora of things. So it's important to kind of filter down to figure out what exactly is causing this to happen. And this is the work that I do with my clients. This is how practical I get, okay? Because there's just not enough Christian conversations around the practical aspects of dating. Yes, pray, wait and pray. But waiting also requires you to participate, okay? Waiting requires you to participate. It requires your involvement, okay? What are you waiting for? If you are at the train station, you're not just waiting for the sake of waiting, you're waiting for a train. But you need to make sure you know the platform. You need to make sure you know the the routes, to make sure that it's going to stop at your particular station. You need to know the time. So I share that example to show you waiting requires direction. Okay, so even as a Christian woman that is waiting for marriage, there has to be a direction you're facing, and that is where you participate. So those are just some examples. So what I like to do with my clients is, from the practical aspect of dating, really get a really clear picture as to what has been your dating experience so far, kind of like some of the exercises I did here with you guys. Filter down to what is the commonality here, where are the areas that we need to work on, what can we tweak to be able to change the results you're currently getting. And that is literally how I'm able to get my clients from single to married within a year. Like, they start working with me, they haven't met the man they are going to marry, they've not met him or they've not met any man that even looks like him, and within a year they're married, because we're following a very streamlined direction in terms of how they are dating and how they're making themselves available as Christian women to be able to attract, be visible, connect with, date, and then marry their husbands. Very important, okay? So part of the reason why it's not happening is because these things are not happening on your end. So what I like to do is, and what's interesting, just in the course of my work, I'm part of the strategy I use with my clients is what I call dating projections. So we can project when you're going to meet your partner simply by how you are currently experiencing dating. Just like, I'll give you guys an example. Just like if you wanted to lose weight, maybe you wanted to lose 5 kg, and you start working with a trainer, and he's gonna take account of certain things. What's your lifestyle? What kind of diet do you have? How often do you work out? When do you want to lose this amount of weight? That is to give you an idea of, okay, what needs to be done from where you are to get to where you want. So he can project how long it is going to take you from where you are to get to where you want. Same thing with dating. That's why I asked you to drop in the comments, how many men have you met? How many relationships have you been in? How many dates have you gone on? Because it will give you a very clear indicator of how long it's going to take you to get to where you want, depending on what you do with the current information you have. So if you're meeting no men now, it means you need to start meeting men. It's really that simple. If you are going on dates but they're not getting into relationships with you, it means that there's something around the way you date that is causing it to be difficult to get into a relationship. If you're getting into relationships that do not materialize into a marriage, then you really need to work on how you choose men, the kind of men you commit to, and the parameters around your commitment. So that will give a clear projection of what needs to be worked on for you to get the results you want. So for instance, when I'm working with my clients, I like to map out, okay, what is your current experience, so that we know where we need to work to project how to get you into a relationship leading to marriage within 6 months, meeting your husband, and then getting married within a year. Like, usually for my clients, what I've seen so far is they get into relationships between a 3 to 6 month time frame, and then they get married in the later half of the year. They're usually engaged for the following 4 months, and then they get married. So it's in total a 12 month timeline. That and another thing I want to tell you about this, and I've seen this with a variety of clients, by the way, different ages, different locations, different professional backgrounds, all within a 12-month time frame getting married. And the reason I'm emphasizing that is I want you to know men know when they want to marry you. They do not need years to figure it out. They do not need additional time to decide to commit. They do not need any more information that isn't currently available to decide whether or not they want to make you their wife. What is required on your end is you need to know what that looks like, so that you do not waste your time. You do not spend too long in a situationship, too long in the wrong relationship. You need to be clear on what exactly are the indicators to let you know this is a serious man. So that's what I work with my clients on, so that when they are meeting their husbands, I can tell you, like, more than 2-3 clients have said to me, I'm still in shock because and these are, women that are engaged. I'm still in shock. I can't believe it. Because when their husbands came, they came with intention, they came with direction, they came with a very clear desire. And that is how it should look like when you are dating. And I also want to mention, it's not necessarily the first man you meet. Like these clients I'm mentioning that I've worked with, I show them how to choose from a pool of men, okay? Because this should be a constant experience. Men should come in contact with you and know that you are a woman of substance. They should see it. They should experience it. They do not need to be in relationship with you to get that sense. Men work with instincts. It is something that they feel when they come into your environment, for lack of a better way of putting it. So all these clients, it's not necessarily the first men they met. They've gone on dates with other men. They've been approached for serious intentions by other men, and then they choose their husband based on the work I do with them to clarify exactly what it is you're looking for, how it looks like, and how to be able to identify it in a dating process so that you make sure you choose the right partner. Because as Christian women, we are doing this for generational purposes, okay? You're choosing a spouse not just for your own comfort, but because of the children you have, and you want to be clear on the kind of partner you want to raise your kids, the kind of genes you want your kids to have. You want to be clear on the kind of legacy you want to leave for your children, your grandchildren. It's a lineage issue. So the work I do with my clients is to get married to the right men. It's not just about marrying anybody. Okay, as Christians, there's a particular mission behind your marriage. And if you don't know that mission, it's going to be difficult for you to identify when you're looking at a man that can carry that mission with you. So coming into contact with more men has to be directional, okay? So ask yourself, based on where you are, what needs to happen on your end? Do you need to meet more men? Do you need, and like I already explained, it's either online or organic or both. I like to make sure my clients are covered online and organically, because the truth is, if you're going to meet men, same way you meet people, it's going to come through one of those routes. It's either you meet people in your day-to-day routine or you meet them through online platforms. That's the only way we connect in this world, okay? So that, and when I say online, I just mean the virtual space. That's all it is. So those are the only two ways that man is going to come into your life, right? So it's important to ask yourself what needs to adjust there. And part of the process of my program is clarifying that to make sure that my clients are clear on what that looks like in their current routine. Another mistake I see here is trying to do something that isn't usual to you. You're an introvert. You don't like going to parties, and then you start going to every party. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. You need to choose a routine that fits your lifestyle. So with my clients, I literally just optimize their current routine, because I know that the men that they're called to marry will fit who they currently are in terms of lifestyle choices, values, and how they make themselves available in the world, right? Those are actually one of the indicators of, and one of the ways in which to maximize opportunities to meet the right men. Think about it like when you're making friends. If you're somebody that is an introvert, or somebody that likes exercise, you like the gym, it's easier to connect with people that share similar values. You're a woman, or think about it like your faith. You're a woman of faith. You love talking about the Lord. You prioritize your relationship with God. It's easier to connect with other Christian women. It's the same with dating. If you're an introvert, you want to use the opportunities that come across your way in the routine that you have as an introvert to meet the right man. The mistake I see here is thinking about coming into contact with men, coming into contact with men as more of a quantity as opposed to a quality experience. So it's not about the number of men you meet, but it is about the frequency with which you meet men. So that's what I will be mostly interested in. That's why I said take an account of the last couple of months. I think we're 10 months into 2024 at the time of this training, and really ask yourself, what's the frequency like? It's not the number, it's the frequency. It doesn't matter if you meet 2 men every 3 months. I wouldn't focus on the fact that it's just 2 men. I would focus on why is it every 3 months, right? So it's about making sure that you increase the quality as opposed to the quantity. So examples I can give you, like that I've walked my clients through, is just maximizing the quality of opportunities that they can create within their current routine to meet the right men, because he's going to fit into your lifestyle. If you're not an extrovert, you're going to parties and you go to a party just because you're trying to meet men, and you meet an extrovert there that has a completely different lifestyle, you are the one that is stepping out of your own desire for what you want in a partner. So do not be surprised if he doesn't share your values, if he likes to go out all the time, if he's somebody that, of course there are exceptions, there are always exceptions, but usually do not be surprised by if you guys don't have matching values, because you stepped into his own lifestyle. So you want to use your lifestyle to your advantage, and part of the process of my program is clarifying exactly how to do that so that you create natural, organic opportunities to meet men. Okay? Now, second thing I would mention is another way to meet your husband before the end of 2024 is really focusing on connection. The second reason why you haven't met the right men is maybe you are coming into contact with men, but your problem is connection. You find that men ghost on you, the relationships are dead on arrival, they get your number, they never call. After the first date, you don't hear from them again. Just drop some examples of your experiences in the comments. These are just some things I've heard. That what it means is there's a problem with the way you're connecting with men. Now, connection is simply a question of communication. So there's beyond vocal and verbal communication, there's non-verbal communication that is usually coming across in the way you flirt, the way your femininity comes across, and how you are friendly. So you really want to work on those three things. Do you know how to flirt? Are you comfortable in your femininity? Are you free in your femininity? Are you confident in it? Do you know how to be friendly without being without overstepping or getting too attached? So there's usually an issue with connection that is creating that gap between connecting with men, but actually it's not materializing into anything substantial. So what I work with my clients there on is value stacking. Now, this is where I teach clients how to lead with their value, because when you're connecting and communicating with men, your value should be coming across. It should be felt more than heard. In other words, it's not something you need to say. It's something they can feel. They can sense it in your aura just by being in your environment and in your presence. And how you know you're carrying this well is it translates into your natural environment. You will notice that people want to talk to you. It's easy for people to be free around you. People are really drawn to you energetically. Maybe you're the kind of person that people naturally approach on the street for directions. Sometimes that could be an indicator that your aura, in other words, the energetic frequency you're putting out into the world, is very welcoming and calming. You may notice that people tend to open up to you even when you don't have that kind of relationship. On the other end of things, you may find that you rub certain people the wrong way. Some people just don't like you for no reason. It has nothing to do with you. It's your aura. It's so strong that it's making that it doesn't vibe with them, so it's making them uncomfortable. You will notice that your friendships are usually deep rooted. You will also notice that when you connect with men, it tends to happen. Men connect with you very easily. It's not a problem for men to open up to you, to connect with you, to want to talk to you, but it's how you regulate it that you need to work on. So when I talk about value stacking, when you are leading with your value, you will have some or all of these experiences. Now, of course, everything I said is not it's not exhaustive. There are other reasons that I haven't mentioned here. It's really dependent on the person, and part of the work I do with my clients is cleaning up their energetic frequency, so to speak, to be able to create that natural aura and presence that draws. I've literally had clients like just going through the course of the program, they get opportunities at work, they get promotions, they come into contact with high-level senior management in their different organizations. They handle engagements and opportunities at their profession that they haven't experienced before. They're suddenly put forward for it. Because when you shift in this area, when you learn to step into your fullness as woman, as scripture describes it, and this is an essential element. It's not really described a lot in Christian teaching, but if you notice in Genesis, when Adam said, "This is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, she shall be called woman," he wasn't just talking about her identity in terms of her name. He was talking about the wholeness of her, of who she was, the completeness of it. When you step into that identity of woman, and you really start to embody your femininity in that way that it releases a reverberation, so to speak, in terms of it's felt in your environment, it will be natural for you to draw men to you. Like, it will just be very natural. Like, you will find that you connect with men very easily because you're in a place of confident, your core is stable. Now, the problem here, and how you know you don't have this, is you attract emotionally unavailable men. You attract men that take advantage of you, manipulate you, ghost on you, disrespect you. And this is a current recurring experience that you're going through. Like I said, you will always get the bad batch, but you want to make sure that the bad batch is as little as, say, 20%. But if you're experiencing a bad batch of men that is over 50, 60, 70, in fact, is the entirety of your experience, then there's a problem in how your value is coming across and how you're making it available. So when I say value stacking, I'm really talking about how you are making your value available during the course of meeting, interacting, connecting with, and then eventually committing to men. That is what I mean. So what I help my clients to do is to learn how to lead with their value in a progressive way so that they can make availability in their lives for men that align with the kind of commitment they want. Because to get the kind of commitment you want with a man, you need to be connecting with men that want to commit in that way. Okay? To get the kind of commitment you want in a man, to get a commitment that leads to marriage, to get a commitment that leads to a healthy relationship, a commitment that leads to an alignment in values, you need to connect in that way. So you shouldn't be connecting with men that do not share your values, that do not align in terms of your priorities, that do not see long-term commitment in their future with you, because they will not give you the kind of commitment you want. And I'm sure some of you have experienced it. You've been in relationships that were dead end, or you've been in talking stages that have lasted for months and months and months, or you found yourself in situations where you are dating the same toxic man every 3 months, and you've been in that cycle with him for years. That is what is happening. So when you learn how to lead with your value, it naturally draws you out of that toxic experience and that toxic cycle and brings you into a space where you can naturally connect with men that are progressive. In other words, men that want to move the conversation forward, okay? From talking to going on dates to in a relationship and so on and so forth. Now, to be very clear, just because you start meeting quality men doesn't mean all of them will want to enter a committed relationship with you leading to marriage. It doesn't mean all the relationships will work out. But what it does mean is it is facing a progressive direction. In other words, where you are in month 1 is not the same place you are in month 3. By month 3, like I shared a reel earlier, if you're watching this on Instagram, about how any relationship cycle, like that is from meeting a guy to being in a relationship with him, shouldn't be longer than 90 days. If it's taking longer than 90 days, then you are talking to the wrong person, okay? So that's another area that will need work. And I'm giving some examples just to be able for you to be able to know if that is your current position in that cycle. So what in the cycle of getting to marriage. So what needs to happen for you to meet your husband is you need to clean that up, okay? So do we have any questions so far? But yeah, this is part of the work. So when I talk about my Dating to Marry program, that's my one-on-one program where I work with Christian single women over 30 to get married within a year, regardless of their current dating, whether they are dating, they've seen any men or not, it doesn't really matter. The program works. Just because, I make them go through this process that I'm kind of summarizing for you guys here, so that they can see tangible, trackable results and tweak where necessary to attract the kind and quality and caliber of man that they want. So yeah. Okay, so I'm seeing a comment. Tap the hearts if this has been useful. So someone said, let me see. Someone said, for this year, haven't met any men. 2 last year, they were divorced, UK, in 60s, kids over 30s. One wants me to have a kid here in Nigeria. So you can see how all of that is telling you that you are dating, you are available to the wrong men, right? Because everything you mentioned is not what you want. I'm assuming because that's what I asked. I'm assuming everything you mentioned is not what you want at all. If we're able to take out everything and just leave one thing, because you mentioned quite a list of things, it would still be a problem. So what that tells me is that you need to change the way in which you are connecting with men. There's something in your connection. So what I mean by when I say connection, to break it down for you guys to understand it, I mean the men that you're talking to. I mean the men you're giving your number. I mean the men that you're allowing to take you on dates. I mean the men that you're making yourself available to, the kind of conversations you're having with them. That is connection. So there's something there that needs to be adjusted, because all of this is indicative of the fact that you're talking to the wrong men. And another thing that happens when you notice that you're connecting with men in the wrong way, it means that you are facing the wrong direction. That's what it means. So think of it this way. It's kind of like if you're trying to travel down a street and you're trying to get to a bank, right? There are certain landmarks that you should be looking out for. Maybe you pass a grocery store, a clothing store, a supermarket that's quite popular. That's what somebody has told you to look out for as landmarks. Like maybe they say every 15 minutes, you'll see this supermarket chain. They have like 3 that lead to that particular destination, but you don't see any. So you are going the wrong way. Same thing is what I'm saying here. So how I know you're going the wrong way is you haven't met anybody this year. The 2 you met last year were clearly unavailable. They were divorced, lived in the UK. That wasn't even the problem. Both in their 60s, have kids over 30 years of age, and want you to have a kid here in Nigeria. And from your profile, I don't think you are in that position where you want to be dating somebody with all of that going on, right? I'm assuming you're not looking for men over their 60s, is what I mean. So what I want you to focus on instead is changing the direction of the way you're dating. How did all of this happen? Ask yourself that question, and then change how it happened. Like maybe change the way you're talking to men, like I said. Change how you're filtering men out, the platforms through which they came into your life. And you need more platforms for meeting men, because you haven't even met any men this year. But yeah, so pretty much those are some things you can focus on. But that's the kind of work that I like to do with my clients, to be able to deduce, okay, why are you experiencing this? Let's kind of get to the root of this problem, so that we can be clear on what needs to be adjusted and what needs to be shifted for you to get a different result. Okay, obviously the result leading to a relationship that gets you married. But yeah, that's usually the second leg of you meeting your person. You need to make sure that you're coming into contact with the right men. You're connecting with men in a way that attracts the quality and caliber of men you want. Okay. And then finally, you want to make sure. So I'm seeing a comment about the lady that shared that should pray, go for deliverance, you can't be attracted to old men. But I want to clarify something, okay? And that's the reason I'm mentioning this comment. I want to clarify something. Just because you find yourself attracting maybe men that are not attractive to you, or that carry baggage, it doesn't necessarily mean you have a spiritual problem. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean you have a spiritual problem. I want to be clear on that, because I see a lot of assumptions around, oh, this is a spiritual issue. No, it could simply be that there's something in the way you are. Is it older people that are referring these men to you? It could be that simple. Maybe it's your aunties, your uncles, your parents, also elders in the church. Then simply change the age range of people that you tell that you're looking for a relationship. That's all. Start telling your colleagues, start telling your friends, start telling people that are closer to you in age, so that when they are referring you, they refer to you to people you're older and younger and more aligned with your age. Or let those people know, if it's coming by referral, let those people know, I'm not looking for anybody above this age. That solves the problem. Now, mind you, if you don't do that, you say, let me pray, it's not going to change anything. That's why I wanted to clarify this. It's not going to change anything in terms of, all of a sudden, maybe Sister Mary is always introducing you to old men. Sister Mary isn't going to stop introducing you to old men, because old men is all that she knows. So you need to literally tell Sister Mary that, I appreciate you connecting me with these people, but it's too old for me. So, I'd rather, if you have somebody that meets this A, B, and C criteria, that would be great. That solves that problem. It's that simple, right? So the reason I gave that example is because I don't see a lot of practicality when it comes to Christian dating, and that is part of the problem. I don't know where this came from, but there's this assumption that this man would just land out of the sky, like he would just fall. You go to churches, you hear Your husband is coming, Where is he coming from? Where is he coming from? I've seen a lot of women that are waiting and waiting and waiting. Nothing is happening. Because it is not just prayer. You need to be practical. You need to ask yourself, okay, why hasn't it actually happened? Like, what is it that I need to do that I am not doing? And that's why, I share some examples of my clients like that. Maybe they've been waiting for years, or they've always experienced situationships. Like one of my clients, she was always experiencing situationships. When she started working with me, discovered that the problem was she was getting her family too involved. It was that simple. That was it. We just worked on, okay, fine. This is when you introduce your family. This is when you let your family know about A, B, and C person. She was married within a year. It was that simple. It wasn't a spiritual problem. It wasn't like she has a spirit husband. It was just she was telling her family too much. That's what I mean by being practical. Okay? So I just wanted to clarify that. Now, this is not to say that there aren't instances where it is a spiritual problem. But when you pray, God will show you. If it's a spiritual problem, pray for the eyes of your spirit, the eyes of your understanding, as scripture says, it to be open. God will show you. You will have a dream, you'll have a revelation, you'll be prompted. You'll be prompted to pray in a particular area. You will get a reaction in the spirit. You will notice how you experience a reaction in the spirit physically is maybe certain people start fighting with you. You will notice that a friend may start fighting with you. That's a reaction from the spirit. That, okay, there's something here. Is she monitoring? So what I'm saying is, if it's a spiritual problem, there will be clues. There will be signs. And as a woman of faith, that's why, in as much as I say be practical, prayer is very strategic. So part of the work, I help my clients do, in as much as the program is practical, it is a Christian dating program. That's my one-on-one coaching. It show them how to be strategic prayerfully, right? How to be strategic prayerfully, how to know the kind of prayers to pray, and how to be discerning in the spirit. So there will be a reaction. So if you're experiencing if you pray about this thing, okay, now obviously you pray about everything, but okay, you pray about this problem. If it's a spiritual problem, God will open your eyes. You may have a dream about a family member. You may notice somebody calls you out of nowhere. You may notice an area in your life starts experiencing difficulty or starts experiencing some turbulence. That means there's a reaction in the spirit. So you pay further attention to that. So that's how you know when it's a spiritual problem. Okay, those are just some examples because I really wanted to articulate this so you are clear on what it looks like. But sometimes it's just a simple thing of changing your strategy. It's really that simple, right? But yeah, I just wanted to explain that. Another reason, but let me know if that was helpful. I just wanted to explain that. And thank you for sharing that comment because it gave me the opportunity to explain what it looks like when it's a spiritual problem and when it's just, you just need a different strategy. And sometimes it could be both, could be both, which is why, with my clients, we do prayer and we are practical. We don't just do one or the other. We do both. Like, let's pray about this. Let's see what the Lord is saying and let's be practical. And however the Lord leads me in my spirit is where I will lead when it comes to coaching that client on getting the result. Like, I remember one client, she thought she wasn't called to marriage. She wasn't sure, like, because she wasn't meeting the kind of men she wanted to meet. She was in her 30s. She was doing well professionally, but she wasn't meeting the kind of men she wanted to meet. They will take her on dates. They will go to family events and functions with her, but they will not commit. So we prayed about it. I led her through the part of my process is learning how to be strategic in prayers and showing you how you can build your relationship with the Lord practically when it comes to dating, so that you know by yourself how to stand. You're not relying on your pastor or your spiritual mentor or anybody. You can stand on your own in spirit. And she received the revelation that she was called to marriage. She's married now. But she got that revelation pretty early on in I think within the first month of our work together. My program is 6 months. She got the revelation within the first month of our work together. Actually, no, she knows she's called to marriage now. Because she had started to understand how to get confirmation from the Holy Spirit. through the process of the program, and she's married now. So the reason I share that is I want you to understand there is definitely a space for you to, there's definitely a lot of opportunity for you to develop your relationship with the Lord. But sometimes it's not about praying against this, praying against that. Sometimes it's just praying for revelation about A, B, and C when it comes to dating, meeting men. I always tell all my clients, wherever you meet a man, just carry him to God first. In fact, one of the podcasts I did, one of my clients shared how that strategy showed her that a man was married when they initially started talking. Like within, I think, the first 2 weeks, he confessed on his own because she adopted the strategy which I share with all my clients of taking every man you meet before God, so that your spirit has a chance to get ahead of your flesh when it comes to the way you date. And as Christian women, we have an advantage. We can see in the spirit. Not only can we see, we can discern. Like, in other words, one thing to see is another to know. So we can see and we know. So that is really important in that process. The third thing, I want to go on because I think there's going to be some disruption soon. The third thing I wanted to talk about is if you are coming into contact with men, connecting with them, but you're finding that you're not committing, the problem is either the length of time you're talking to them, or it has to do with how you choose the men you want to commit to. So you want to focus on choosing how you commit. When I say how you commit, I mean, are you acting like a girlfriend without being a girlfriend? Or are you a girlfriend but not getting the benefits of being in an exclusive relationship? The benefits are simple, like having somebody to talk to, somebody that is available to you, being able to build your connection, communication with each other. Those are some benefits, discussing the future together, making tangible plans towards it. Are you not experiencing that? Or are you finding that your relationships always come to a stop after a particular number of months? In which case, you want to reevaluate why that is happening. What are things that you need to change around the kind of men you're committing to, your decisions around commitment? Maybe you're not paying attention close enough to certain qualities, or maybe you're just not good at reading a man's intentions. The problem, in summary, is vetting. You need to change the way you vet men. In other words, vetting simply means how you process information, the kind of questions you ask, evaluating the answers you're getting. You need to do work in your vetting, and that will change the way you make yourself available for commitment. Okay? So that's what needs to be worked on. So that's the third thing. So commitment is the last thing for you to be able to meet your husband before the end of 2024. Okay, so those are the 3 areas that definitely you can approach and see a shift in your results in dating. Now, if you want to work with me and you're a 30 plus Christian single woman that wants to get into a relationship leading to marriage, just click the link in bio and first tab to apply to work with me one-on-one. Okay? So I think I'll have to go soon. I'm just hearing a lot of disruption. Can you guys hear any noise on your end if you're watching this live? But yeah, so those are the 3 things. You need to work on contact, connection, commitment. And when I work with you one-on-one, if you're a 30 plus Christian single woman, I take you through that process of cleaning up how you come in contact with men, because that's going to determine the kind of men you connect with. And then we work on cleaning that up so that you're committing to the right man, so that you can get into a relationship leading to marriage within a year. Thanks guys, thanks for clarifying that. So it's just on my end. When you clean up these areas, it's just natural for you to step into marriage. Okay? Awesome. Do you have any questions based on anything I've said? Oh yes, absolutely. It's important to meditate and go through scripture. Yes, 100%. Okay, somebody said I played hard to get when a gentleman asked for my number. I didn't give it. So next time, just give him your number. My boyfriend of 2 months kept assuring me of seeing my people. You're in a rush. You don't want to rush a man to see your people. He's the one that will do all of that. Okay. found that found that a guy follows a lot of nude women. Doesn't sit well with me. Well, that tells you a lot about him. It's not even about not not necessarily only the fact that not necessarily following, but more to do with values, um, and more to do with does he have problem with boundaries? Is he somebody that is very lustful? That's why it's not normal. Because you're asking me the question, is it normal? It's not. Do do do. What if a man grows cold and pulls away just because I voiced an observation that I wasn't cool with? Well, that tells you that he is not somebody that he's emotionally manipulative. So that's just silent treatment. It's either silent treatment, in which case where they draw away and then come back after a few days. That's terrible. You want to address that. Or there's something there he doesn't want you to see. So in other words, he's hiding some information. So that is an area you definitely want to explore with him. A lot of you, part of your problem is you are always willing to compromise your boundaries, always willing to compromise your standards, and that will always end up being the reason why things don't work out with that person, because guess what, they were never meant for you in the first place. So one of the fastest, simplest ways to meet the kind of man you want is to be strong on your values. And I always say, you want to make sure those values are personal to you. So literally, I'll be talking to my clients about what are your values and why are these important to you. It has to be deeper than, it's what scripture says. Okay, but why is it personal? Because when you're confronted with somebody that doesn't agree, that doesn't align, that doesn't want to, you need to have an anchor. If not, you're likely to fall depending on how strong the opposing force is, whether emotionally, physically, or otherwise, how strongly you feel about them. So your anchor is what will keep you standing and stable, to be able to stand by your decision. Okay. Awesome. I think please, a guy is not fully committed. It means he doesn't want to commit. Okay. It's really that simple. Yo, you don't need to be forcing men. That's your problem right there. You're desperate. Okay? It's a problem. It's not gonna attract quality men. Do you work with single moms? Absolutely. I work with single women over 30 that are not in a relationship, that are struggling with dating to marry. So I've worked with single moms, I've worked with divorced women, I've worked with variety of ages, 30s, 40s, 50s, helped all categories of women get results in dating. So yeah, your singleness is not a problem. Your being a single mom isn't an issue. Could you speak on when you meet online and he starts asking for financial help and you keep giving? Well, that's the problem right there. You keep giving, so he's going to keep asking. Okay, so your problem is boundaries. You need to readjust your boundaries. So somebody said, the guy was stonewalling you, refused to sort things. He pops up once in a while to say hi because he's not interested. He wants something. It was love bombing. Love bombing is a sign of a man that's emotionally unavailable or emotionally dependent and immature. You don't want love bombing. Very big red flag, by the way. But yeah, okay. What of a boyfriend who keeps accusing you of cheating and you don't cheat? He has insecurity issues. So part of the work I do with my clients, you see how I'm just telling you guys what's going on with the men? I show you how to read a man's intentions. It's very logical. As women, we tend to be emotional. But reading men, you have to be very logical. Okay? So what I show my clients how to do is to logically read what a man is doing so that they know when a man is genuinely interested or he's just being curious. So a man that is curious will be doing all the things you guys just mentioned. He'll be accusing you of things you never did. He'll be love bombing you. He'll be depending on you financially. He will struggle with being faithful. He will hide some information from you. those are men that are not genuinely interested. But to identify them, you need to know what that looks like. And you need to know what a genuine man looks like. So part of my work is showing my clients how to be able to identify when a man is genuinely interested simply by how they position themselves and make themselves available to men. And this is how I've helped them to be able to not get, a lot of you, part of your problem is you get too emotionally attached. So part of my process is teaching you how to connect with men without committing to them, so that you can make the right decisions around relationships and who you want to commit to. Okay, so I'm gonna end now. This was fun. If you want to get into a relationship leading to marriage and you're over 30 and looking for a healthy process to date, get into a relationship and get married in a year, then click the link in my bio and first tap to apply to work with me one-on-one. And we'll hop on a call if you're the right fit and we'll start our work. Okay? If you have any questions about working with me, send me a DM. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.